Are you guys excited? Because I am super excited. They finally released the long-awaited Cayman 718 GT4 RS. I know a lot of us have been waiting for this model since the introduction of the GT4 back in 2016. They finally have it, and it is an absolute monster. So today we're going to talk about what makes this car so special. Then we're going to go ahead and throw a build video together for you guys, so you guys can just see what are some of the options and what do you get as part of some of these packages. So let's go ahead and get into it. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and start off by watching the press release video of the 718 Cayman GT4 RS. Then we're gonna discuss some of the bits that you see in this video, what makes this car so special. Then we're gonna be throwing together a build and just going over what are some of the options and maybe what you should be optioning if you're thinking about ordering a 718 Cayman GT4 RS. So let's go ahead and hop here to the video I have pulled up and let's go ahead and watch it. And how badass is that video? Porsche's marketing team, as always, does an amazing job at creating emotion as part of these commercials, and this one is no exception. So in this video, we noticed quite a few things that are new to the 718 Cayman GT4 RS. That car that was driving had a fully exposed carbon hood, fully exposed carbon rear wing, had some magnesium wheels, as well as carbon fiber front fenders. So those are some of the things that you'll notice are part of this optional Weissach package that this car is offering. Very similar to what we saw as part of the 991.2 GT3 RS, and this car has it as an option, which is absolutely amazing. This car has quite a bit more downforce than the previous GT4. It has about 25% more downforce when you put it in the performance track position, which is absolutely amazing. Now going to the sound, it sounds quite a bit different than the standard GT4. So what do? Well, they actually put the 992 GT3 motor in there. So it has a naturally aspirated 4-liter flat 6, 493 horsepower, close to 500 horsepower, and that puppy revs to 9,000, just like the GT3 does, and that is mind-blowing. So Porsche has done some magic, and they have finally put that GT3 motor inside of the GT4. They've dialed in the suspension a little bit more, and it's actually about 30 millimeters lower than the standard Cayman with the PASM Sport suspension. So this is all stuff that you'll notice as part of that video. That shifter is going to be brought over from the 992 GT3 as well, so it doesn't have the previous generation where you had like a little silver one and you could go up and down to put the car into gear. This has the 992 GT3 gear selector. So amazing stuff about this car. And also, as far as lap times, I love to talk about lap times, and this is a very track-focused 718 variant. It'll do the Nürburgring Ring in about 7 minutes, 9 seconds. That is insane. If the car is on the shorter version, which the previous cars were, it's about 7:04. So that is insane that we have a 718 Cayman that's almost sub 7 minutes. So that is pretty crazy. And that's actually shaving a little over 20 seconds off of the standard GT4. Part of that is the downforce. The car weighs about 50 pounds less than the standard GT4, and that makes for crazy and amazing Nürburgring Nordschleife lap time. So enough talking about and geeking about over this car. Let's go and hop into the configurator and show you guys part of what makes this car so special and what are some of these options and what you get as part of this stuff. So we're gonna go right here. We're gonna go to the US configurator. So I'm gonna go ahead and hit build your Porsche. Now this may be a little bit different if you are in other countries. You can get something called the Club Sport package in some of these other countries. In the US, unfortunately, we cannot get it. That adds the optional roll cage. Now, some very specific stuff here to the United States that you'll be able to get. You can now get the XM antenna radio deleted. So that little square that you would see in the past on top of the roof, you can get that eradicated from your car if you don't like the way that looks. All the cars in the United States are going to have front and rear parking sensors with a backup camera. We're also going to have no option of doing a radio delete as we have in the past because we have to have that backup camera. And then we cannot, in the US, we also cannot get the extended range fuel tank, which would get us a little over 23 gallons. That's not being offered here in the United States, unfortunately. So we're going to be going almost to a 17-gallon fuel tank as standard. So this is all some stuff that we're noticing here on the specifically US GT4 RS. So here we are in the configurator. You'll see the car, it starts at about 141 and some change. After destination charges, we're at 143.50. So let's go ahead and start going here through the color. White is always a great classy Porsche color, but I'm gonna go with a launch color. Some of you may think that this color is being overused a little bit just because it's a launch color of the 992 GT3. We just received a 992 RS in shark blue, and I think it looks absolutely amazing. I'm a big blue proponent, so I'm gonna spec this particular build with the shark blue. Now we're gonna keep going here. I'm gonna do this more as a track focus build, so I'm gonna go ahead and get the magnesium wheels. You're gonna see it's cost $15,640, and it's also gonna ask us if we wanna do the Weissach package, or actually prompt us, because we cannot choose to get the, not choose the Weissach package if we get these magnesium wheels. So here we go, 20-inch magnesium wheels, $15,000. We're gonna get this interior, which kind of gives me, brings me to another point. Now, if you get the Weissach package, you're going to get the Race Text interior also up over the dash, which is very similar to the 935 race car that Porsche released a couple years ago, as well as the tips in the back of that stainless steel exhaust. You're going to have titanium tips that are also brought over from the 935. We'll be talking about the Weissach package here in a moment. So with this Race Text, you're going to have a nice Race Text dash, which I thought was pretty cool when that car was released. And then we're going to remove these standard wheels, which I think actually look pretty cool, and the standard interior. So if you select the Weissach package here, it'll tell you everything that's included. We already kind of discussed part of this in what we were talking about earlier, that fully exposed carbon fiber trunk lid, the air intakes. That's something I didn't talk about a moment ago. Those rear quarter windows are now gone. They're now little side vents that actually take in air and direct it right to the engine, which I think look really, really cool. And they're a lot of function. They're very functional as well. Exposed carbon fiber mirrors, exposed carbon fiber rear wing, we talked about that. Porsche logo in the back of the car at the top of that rear window glass. It'll say Porsche in dark silver. Titanium tailpipes in 935, we just talked about that. Exposed carbon fiber air box and air intakes. I'll show you guys what that looks like. That looks absolutely killer. You can see it where you usually see in Cayman's carpet at the top. You have this fully exposed carbon air box, which is so cool. Upper section of dashboard and Race Text. There's that. Dashboard trim with Weissach package logo and headrest embroidered with the Weissach package logo. So that's all going to be the stuff that you're going to get as part of the Weissach package. This shaves just about 20-some pounds, so it's a pretty significant shavings opposed to the non-Weissach package cars. I feel like if you're getting this car, you should probably option this. You don't necessarily have to option those magnesium wheels, but I feel like this is pretty much a must when you're optioning the GT4 RS. So I'm going to go ahead and hit accept changes here. We're going to keep going down. There's that interior we selected. Full bucket race seats. This is a race car. We got to do that. Packages. There's that Weissach package we talked about. Exterior. So window trims, triangles, and carbon fiber. A lot of people have been adding these from aftermarket companies in the past on these. It's actually going to be right here, and you can get that now in carbon fiber. Helps with wind diffusal. Not these ones, but a lot of aftermarket ones have a little bit of a curvature to them to help with that wind buffeting that you get if your window's down just a certain amount. So you can get those. I think it's a little bit too much carbon fiber based on how this is all looking with carbon here, carbon there, carbon on the hood. I think if we do that, it's maybe a little bit excessive, so I'm going to stick away from that. But again, this is all preference. If you like some of this stuff, put it on your car. Deletion of model designation in rear. That's another thing that brings me. This is going to be a sticker, just like it has been, or decal, and same thing with GT4 RS in the back. So we're going to keep going. I don't want the logo in high gloss silver, so we're going to get out of there. Performance, chrono package. Love that. We're building a track car. I feel like we should be getting the chrono package. Front axle lift system. Now this brings me to a point. If you're going to be tracking this car and it's going to be more of a track focused car, maybe stay away from front axle lift. Only reason being is it adds unnecessary weight that I don't think you need if you're going to be tracking your car. Now, if you're going to be tracking it and maybe taking it on the street, I would maybe option for the front axle lift system, as a lot of people, especially in GT cars and GT4RS in the past, they're looking for that front axle lift depending on how they're going to use it. So maybe that would be a good option to add, but just as part of today's build, we're not going to be adding that. Ceramics kind of is another thing that you can change. I think I probably will do ceramics as it helps, has better stopping power, of course, less brake dust. You are going to burn through them a little bit quicker if you're taking the car to the track, but with the way that we're building this car, I think we should stick with those PCCBs. But maybe if it's a solely track-based car, maybe you won't do the ceramic brakes. A lot of people actually go with the steel brakes just because over the long term, you're going to be saving money, not necessarily weight, but you're going to be saving money in the long run, and you're not going to be burning through your ceramic pads or rotors for that matter. And we all know that, so those are pretty expensive. But we're going to build with the PCCBs today. And I'm going to make the brake calipers in black just because the red doesn't go with too much here on the outside. So we have these nice black PCCB ceramic brake calipers. So we got that. We got the lights and vision. We're going to go with the PDLS headlights plus on here. So you're going to see how it's going to change. It's going to give us that kind of 4-point look. I think that's kind of a no-brainer for this car. I don't like those standard headlights quite as much. So we've got that. Light design package, same thing as like an ambient light package on the inside with a bunch of nice lighting. Let's go ahead and do it for 350 bucks. Auto dimming mirrors with integrated rain sensor, of course. Let's do that. So we're going to close lights and vision. We're going to go right here into interior, steering wheel and gear selector in black leather. Maybe the Alcantara wheels or Racetex wheels don't tend to wear the best. So maybe this is something you would like to get or add if you are going to be driving the car a bunch and maybe not using driving gloves or anything of that sort. So I'm going to stick with the Racetex. I like the way it feels. Again, it gets matted down over time, so just be on the lookout for that. And we have these 3D printed body form full bucket driver seats, soft, medium, and hard. Something definitely to take a peek at and maybe do. You can read what it kind of does in the description. I'm not going to talk about it too much today, maybe for a future video, but it's a 3D printed body form full bucket seat that can be installed and removed. This is what you do when you are pretty much a race car driver. You'll notice they'll have kind of inserts. This is kind of going very similar to that with this option for each driver. So that's pretty cool. Maybe something to look into. It's about $4,000. Heated seats, we're not going to do that. Smoking package, no. Luggage net, I always like having that. It's right there on the passenger seat. Fire extinguisher, if you're checking the car to the track, maybe something to think about. I know we all don't plan on crashing our car, but you just never know. So I'll go ahead and add it. It's going to give us that little extinguisher right down here. Climate control panel painted. So that's going to be this portion here. I don't like the way that looks, to be honest, so I'm not going to add that. Vehicles key painted and key pouch. We're not going to do that either. Seat belts, maybe we would change it to shark blue, but maybe that was only if we're doing shark blue stitching. We're doing an Arctic gray silver stitching, so we're not going to do that either. We're just going to kind of keep it somewhat plain on the inside and not do too much of pop. But I am going to do the instrument dials, and we're going to change those puppies to white. So we're going to go these ones as well as the sports chrono clock. I kind of like the way that looks, especially with this silver stitching. I think it's going to tie in really nicely. Now there's that Visoc RS badge. We saw that in the GT2 RS, GT3 RS, GT4 RS is no different. So let's keep going. Door pull loops in black. You'll notice same thing as GT4. You can change all those loop colors. We're going to skip all that stuff. So there we go. Interior Racetex. We've got most of this. I'm not going to mess too much with Racetex, to be honest with you. Carbon fiber, I'm going to do door sills illuminated in carbon fiber if you want to see what those look like. It's actually not showing you at the moment, but it'll just say GT4 RS and it will be in carbon fiber, which I always think is a great option for 530 bucks when we're spending almost 200,000. 500 bucks isn't too much at this point. So let's go ahead and close this guy. Audio communication. I think Bose surround sound is always a must. Voice control, why not if it's 0? Porsche voice control on this model car and that PCM doesn't necessarily work the best. I'm just going to be honest with you. It works okay, but something maybe to think about. But if it's $0, why not just add it? So that pretty much wraps this up. And then of course, delivery experience. We've talked about this in all my previous other build videos. Always a great option to do, especially with something like this and this vehicle. So that pretty much wraps up the car. This is my build. We came to 192.7, so that's pretty steep. That's getting close to GT3 territory, to be honest with you. Some of the GT3s I've seen so far come into my store have been right around this price point, maybe a little bit more. Kind of where a lot of the GT3s I'm seeing are in the low 2s, 205, 208 to maybe 214. That's kind of where that sweet spot's been. But again, a lot of dealers are charging a market adjustment. There's a very, very minimal amount of cars at the moment. So just something to keep in mind. If you can get one for sticker, absolutely amazing. I would jump on that in a heartbeat, especially with this type of car. We've been having market adjustments at a lot of Porsche stores in the United States since the introduction of the GT4 RS. So I have a feeling GT4 RS is probably not going to be any different than those previous RS vehicles. But that pretty much wraps up the build for today. I think it looks awesome. Again, this is all preference. All the nice carbon bits. There's those carbon air intakes, and of course the hood. We got those fenders very similar to GT3 RS and these nice NACA ducts. So I think this car is absolutely going to look amazing. I'm really, really excited about this car. To be honest, I've been waiting for it for a very, very long time. So as always, I really appreciate you guys watching these videos. If you have any questions, please leave them down in the comments below. I'll try to answer as many questions as I can. Now, one last thing before I go. This car is set to be arriving sometime in summer of 2022. So dealers may be getting their allocations, I would expect, in the next couple months. Most Porsche dealers aren't going to have any allocations quite yet. So if you're calling your Porsche store, probably no allocations yet, but I would be on the lookout probably in the next couple months. So as always, I appreciate you guys watching these videos. We'll see you guys in the next one. Thanks for watching.